If what I'm telling you and what we're about to get into doesn't prove to you why you should pay attention to this graph, I don't know it will. Your champion's going to be one of these 7 teams. Here's why I'm making this video, though. We have 7 teams in the trapezoid of excellence out of 16 remaining, which means we are lining up for one of the best Sweet 16s of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great day. Hope all of you having a great week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Man, oh man, we got to talk about some more March Madness. As we all know by now, the round of 64, round 32, they're over. It is time for the Sweet 16. Was there a lot of craziness the first weekend? No. This was one of the calmer March Madnesses I've witnessed in the past, 5, 6, 7 years. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I always enjoy watching basketball, but you get what I'm saying. There wasn't a lot of, like we say, March Madness. I think we can all agree on this. We're in the same boat. There was a wee bit of madness. Nothing more, nothing less. However, and this is the great thing about that, it makes for some outstanding matchups in the Sweet 16. Because normally when you have some major upset, like a 14 seed making it to the Sweet 16, it's a terrible matchup and they get blown out of the water because they can't match up with these teams. But when you got all the 1 seeds remaining, you got the 1-5 matchup with Auburn and Michigan, the 6-2 matchup with Ole Miss, Michigan State, number 1 Florida, number 4 Maryland, Alabama, 2 BYU 6, Houston 1, Purdue 4, 3 Kentucky, 2 Tennessee, makes for some outstanding games. I think we're going to be in for a treat since there's not any Cinderellas, and sorry I'm not sorry, I cannot consider Arkansas a Cinderella because they have the talent of a team like Alabama, Kentucky, or maybe even Auburn. But like I was saying, when you don't have any Cinderellas, you're not going to have any matchups where this team, like, for example, Auburn is just bigger, faster, and way stronger than Michigan. That's not the case. Michigan can beat Auburn, and they match up with them nicely. Auburn may beat the brakes off of them. That's a possibility. It's basketball, anything can happen, but it's not going to be because Michigan's like far less superior than them, if that makes sense. I think the greatest example I can give you is McNeese State. They upset Clemson. That's all fine and dandy, but what happens in the next round against Purdue? They get blown out of the water. That's the one problem with Cinderellas and upsets. They're great to see, but eventually, they're going to run out of steam. All that's really besides the point. What we're here to divulge into in today's video is no other than the trapezoid of excellence. This is going to be interesting. Oh yeah, by the way, I almost forgot. We have made a second chance bracket group for our channel and community. Feel free to join. I'll pop it up on the screen for you right here. We'd love for you to be a part of it. We had a blast doing it the first time, and I think this one's going to be even better. I'm looking at our group right now. I'm not even going to scream or yell. Matt be fat. So now I'm fat. Anyways, like I was saying, join the group. Let's get back on track with what we were really talking about. We have been talking about the trapezoid of excellence on the channel for, how long has it been? 2, 3, 4 years. I can't remember. This is something we look at every single year. We always make a video on it. And I've had a bunch of you message me on Twitter and Instagram saying, yo, Matt, I look forward to you covering the trapezoid of excellence every year. And I greatly appreciate those kind of words. I'm glad you guys enjoy keeping up with it as much as myself. But here's why we're talking about it again. I already know what some of you are saying. Matt, really, my brother? We're talking about this again? You've already made 2 or 3 videos talking on it. I know. Hear me out. I'm going to pull up the original trapezoid of excellence. I'll pop it up on the screen for you guys to look at. All you need to know is I'm not going to give you a full breakdown because I've done this in previous videos. If you want a full detailed explanation, go watch those. It's not fair to the people that do watch every single video for me to continue to go over and explain it. Long story short, all you need to know is you want to be in this green trapezoid. Simple as that. The national champion the past 10 plus years has been within this green trapezoid. I have to say this over and over and over because remember, we have new people coming to the channel every single day. This is not my opinion. The guy who made this graph, it's not his opinion either. It's backed up by stats and numbers. By the way, if you don't know who the founder of this trapezoid of excellence is, he makes all these graphs. Feel free to follow him on Twitter. It's Ryan Hammer. I'll pop it up on the screen. Shout out to Ryan. He does an excellent job. If you like college basketball, highly recommend him. This graph is a combination of pace of play and your overall net rating. Ideally, you'd want to be somewhere around, and I'm going to draw my own custom box, somewhere around this area. That's not bad. Or not just bad. What am I talking about? That's pretty good. In a perfect world, if you're a fan of your team, you want to be somewhere around Duke, Auburn, or Florida. I still believe Houston and Tennessee are 2 left and a little too low for my liking. As you can see on the very, and I mean very far right, it is the outlier of the bunch. Nate Oates has defined odds, defined logic. You got Alabama. Nate Oates every single year says, yeah, I don't care, buddy. Screw your trapezoid of excellence. We're going to define the odds, and that's what they do. Alabama really is an outlier. And it'd be different if Alabama was kind of close to it. They're never, ever really close to it, and they've made it to, is this their third or fourth straight Sweet 16? They made it to the Final Four last year. Crazy stuff there. We'll touch on Alabama in just a second. A little foreshadowing. Here's what's really interesting. Heading into March Madness, there were 8 teams, count them, 8 teams, within the trapezoid of excellence. We are now down to 16 teams. You know how many remain out of their original 8? 7. I'm going to say that one more time because I want you to understand the magnitude of this. Out of 8 teams that were within the trapezoid of excellence, 7 of them remain, which should go to tell you and prove that, yeah, you should pay attention to this graph. If what I'm telling you and what we're about to get into doesn't prove to you why you should pay attention to this graph, I don't know it will. This is based off of facts and numbers. Can't harp on that enough. Men lie, women lie, but guess what, pal? The trapezoid of excellence never lies. Here is a new look, courteous Orion Hammer, at the new trapezoid of excellence. Well, it's still the same teams, but all the teams that have lost, he has slightly faded them out, and the teams that still have their color, they're still in March Madness. You're going to notice that Michigan State and Arizona's logos are touching that green trapezoid, but technically they're not on it or they're not within it. These are your 7 out of the 8 teams that were within it. Gonzaga, they're gone. Houston, Tennessee, Texas Tech, Duke, Auburn, Florida, and Maryland. Maryland's the one that shocked me. And the really interesting thing about one of these teams in the trapezoid being eliminated is there wasn't a choice. Who did Gonzaga play in the round 32? Houston. Therefore, one of them had to lose, and they're both within it. The outsiders looking in: Purdue, BYU, Michigan State, Arizona, Ole Miss, Michigan, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Alabama. If you were watching some of the previous videos leading up into March Madness, you will recall and remember that I said, watch out for Kentucky. I feel like they're the dark horse, or I don't just feel like, they are my dark horse, and they remind me a ton of Alabama in 2024. Or technically, I guess last year would have been the 2023 season, but you get what I'm trying to say. They remind me of Alabama last year. You may be sitting there saying, well, okay, Matt, that's all fine and dandy, but who does Alabama remind you of? That's a great question. Alabama, they're in their own separate category. Alabama is the friend that does everything unconventionally, and somehow, some way, he finds a way to make it work. That's the best way to describe them. This is really a different video for a different day. Nate Oates, his system, his philosophy, is not by luck. I'm going to remind some of y'all, Nate Oates was a high school math teacher only a few years ago. He loves looking at numbers. For those of you who don't keep up with Alabama, I'm going to tell you this much. They don't take mid-range jumpers. It's either three-pointers or layups. And it's not like they don't care about defense. Nate Oates has been trying to get his guys to play harder and play better on defense. The bottom line is they're just not good at it this year. They weren't good at it last year either. They kind of got away with it. How far will they make it? Well, I guess I'd wait and see. You can only make it so far without playing defense. Kentucky is in a similar position to Alabama. Great offense, terrible defense. I do like the fact that they got their best defensive player back, Lamont Butler. I think he's a game changer for him. Moving more left here to the middle of the pack, these teams that aren't in the trapezoid, they're still in a great position because they're close to it. But close to it, unfortunately, is not enough, which means Purdue, the BYUs, Michigan State, Arizona, Ole Miss, Michigan, and I was about to say Arizona again, Arkansas, they're not going to win a championship based off of facts and numbers. Your champion's going to be one of these 7 teams. Here's why I'm making this video, though. We have 7 teams in the trapezoid of excellence out of 16 remaining, which means we are lining up for one of the best Sweet 16s of all time. Unlike many others out here, I am not high on Auburn. I prefer Duke over them easily, Florida over them easily, and after seeing what they've done in March Madness, I like Houston and Tennessee more than Auburn. I've had a lot of Bama fans reach out to me the past couple of days and say, yo, Matt, what do you think Alabama's chances are of winning, or not even just winning, but getting to a national championship? Here's my 2 cents. Very, very, very low. Because Alabama, I've said 1,000 times, I will continue to say it, you're probably sick and tired of it, but it's reality. They don't play defense. And I don't like teams that don't play defense because, let me break it down for you. And this isn't just in basketball, this is in baseball, football, every sport out there. Defense travels. What I mean by that? It doesn't matter how bad your offense plays in any sport, we'll even say football for say this video, if your defense is great, you can always count on them. However, with your offense, I don't care if you got Kyler Murray in his prime in Oklahoma back there, he can't always score 50 points. Kyler Murray in prime Oklahoma uniform may put up 50 points in 13 out of 14 games or 14 out of 15 games, but that one game he doesn't score 50, what's going to happen? They're going to lose. That's the problem with Alabama. The one game they can't throw it into an ocean, they only score 71, 72 points. You know what's going to happen? They're going to lose. And there's still even the probability they may lose a game in which they score 90 just because they may give up 91 or 92. That's why I don't like Alabama's chances compared to the rest of the field, like Houston, even Tennessee, Duke. I'd even say Auburn because Auburn plays great defense. And Florida. Look what happened in the Florida-Alabama game. It was neck and neck. Alabama put up 45 points at half, and they're still losing. They go on a cold spurt in the second half in the SEC tournament. They get beat by 20. How is Alabama going to win games when they have 5-minute droughts? Well, the answer to that question is they're not going to win games. I don't like Alabama's chances. Kentucky, they're in the same boat. They're obviously way worse than Alabama. Alabama beat them easily 3 times this year. Michigan, they're a slightly better defensive team. Ole Miss, that's a team to keep your eyes on because they do play good defense, and I think they can score enough to win games. Love this Arkansas team. I'd argue and say I like Arkansas more than Bama at this point in time. The BYUs, they're okay, nothing special. They're not going to win it. Purdue, they're not going to win it. Michigan State, they got a good chance. And believe it or not, I think Arizona, they got a decent shot. It goes without being said, your heavy hitters are in this trapezoid of excellence. I don't need to say anything about them. There's many more things I could say. We're going to end it off here. The Sweet 16, it should be great. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But